Hi, folks. Well, FilmBrony here, and welcome to 2016, everybody. So, a lot of you may
2015? 2016?
2020. I'm sorry. So, anyways, you might remember in my back in my heyday, one of my very first videos was a video where I described every all the anticipated movies I was looking forward to in 2016. And since then, I have done it for 2017, 2018, and 2019. And but now this year is a bit different because I am I am no longer going to do that type of video from my anticipated films list because it's just showing clips of trailers without really describing anything. So I decided to update it a little bit and discuss it with my pal here, Brett Greer, aka Super Mario Fan 03.
Greetings, everyone. Super fans here. Welcome to another exciting episode where a couple of bronies discuss nothing but film and the excitement of film and what Blu-rays we have and any other new film news going on.
All right, Brett. Before we get to our least and most anticipated films list, I want to showcase one Blu-ray I got for Christmas, and and this
Mhm.
and this Blu-ray is while it is the weakest of the MCU, I still think it's pretty decent, and that's Captain Marvel.
It's not one of my favorites in the MCU, but I had more fun with that than Horror the Dark World.
Honestly, I kind of consider this the weakest MCU film because this is the one that least asked to be existed, and it's probably the least extraordinary. I mean, at least Iron Man 2 had Sam Rockwell and War Machine, and Thor the Dark World did have Loki. Captain Marvel, on the other hand, Sam, Sam Jackson was back as Nick Fury.
Oh, and that the Asian technology is great on Sam Jackson.
Yeah, it is. So yeah, Captain Marvel, flawed but really enjoyable. And before you get to your Blu-rays, in case you're wondering what else I got for Christmas, I also got this pretty cool T-shirt, pretty cool Star Wars T-shirt,
Oh,
and those two items came in this sweet Justice League bag.
I can barely see it. Oh, I see it now.
Anyways, has by the way, hashtag released the Snyder Cut, but that's another story. On to you, Brett.
Well, I got bad news for you, folks. I only have one Blu-ray to show you all.
Okay.
Yeah, and this one might not be a very special Blu-ray. This is a guilty pleasure movie. It's a movie that's so stupid, but I have a good laugh at it. Roadhouse with Patrick Swayze.
I've heard of that movie. I haven't seen it.
Um, Patrick Swayze is like a bouncer at a bar, and it's so cheesy. It's so over the top, but I can help but just laugh at the sheer stupidity of this movie. It's something like, you haven't seen it, you're kind of missing out. This is one of my favorite guilty pleasure movies ever. So and before you go, I just want to say, when it comes to me buying Blu-rays, I have a New Year resolution, and it involves me, trying to keep myself on a budget. So I want to try to buy as very few Blu-rays as possible,
Yeah, I
because
mean,
my part of my New Year resolution is to pay off the card entirely.
I see. Yeah, Usually I'm not really into New Year's resolutions because usually people just ignore them within the first few days. But yeah, I am. I will try to buy as few Blu-rays as I can, but I can't make any promises.
Mm-hmm. Well, this is a new resolution I am certainly sticking with. And another one that I mentioned on my YouTube channel.
Yeah, yeah. 2019 has been pretty uneventful on my channel. I mean, sure, we had the Friend Like Me mashup and the other Disney remake mashup that bumped into bumped my YouTube channel to over 5K subscribers. Thanks for that. But most of 2019 has been nothing but memes and crap posts with the occasional YTP and such. And but this year, I'm gonna try to make more videos.
Right. I am too. Anyways, what other Blu-rays you have? You can showcase all your Blu-rays.
Yeah, no, that's all that I had.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. Ah, so I guess we might as well just go into our most and least anticipated movies of the year. We're doing top 5, right?
Well, I have a top 5 least anticipated and a top 20 most anticipated.
Because I have top 5 for both.
I see. Let's go over the top 5 least anticipated first. Guess first, Brett.
Okay. My number 5, I know, probably like an unpopular choice here. But I'm not too excited for Nikki Caro's Mulan.
Ooh, that's in my top 20 most anticipated. Elaborate, please.
Okay, before anyone says, I'm not joining on a bandwagon of Disney needs to stop remaking these. Disney needs to stop remaking none of them. Because I love Kenneth Branagh's Cinderella. In fact, I love it more than the original. Mostly
Me
because,
too.
they fixed the romance issues. I love Jon Favreau's Jungle Book.
Me too. That's my favorite so far.
I really dug
Beauty and the Beast.
David Lowery's Pete's Dragon. And I even love Bill Condon's Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, Bill Condon really needed that after Twilight.
Well, no, well, he already redeemed himself with Mr. Holmes before that. But
about Pete's Dragon, I haven't seen it, but I have seen his other movie, A Ghost Story, which is actually pretty good.
Oh, okay. Last year, it was a downhill slope when it comes to Disney live action remakes. Tim Burton's Dumbo, Guy Ritchie's Aladdin, Jon Favreau's Lion King. I heard Lady and the Tramp was pretty decent.
It was so-so.
The reason why I'm not looking forward to Naked Cars Mulan is yes, I will give it this. Unlike Jon Favreau's Lion King, it seems to be taking a different direction. It has different plot. No, not different plot. Still different a young woman destined to be a great warrior, just for her dad's safety.
It's not a
musical. It looks like a gorgeously shot movie. However, what I am so worried about is yes, I understand you got to make changes. You really do need to make changes. Jon Favreau's Jungle Book made changes, but it also understood its source material. With this movie, it looks like it's sucking what made the original anime film fun. This movie looks like it's going to be incredibly light on humor, which is part of what made Mulan a fun Disney movie. And
I can understand.
No Mushu instead replaced with a phoenix.
Well, it is a darker take, so it is a more dramatic take on the story of Mulan. So I think it kind of makes sense to omit Musu from all it.
Mm-hmm. I understand. A dramatic take is fun. A dramatic take is fun, but you still gotta show a sense of fun to it. Have a sense of fun to it. A good sense of humor. So yeah, that's why I'm not really that excited for Nikki Kyle's Bond. I hope it's good, but I am lowering my expectations for such a movie.
So, anyways, my number 5 is another unpopular opinion, but I'm not really looking forward to No Time to Die. I'm sorry, folks.
Okay, I can understand because Spectre is kind of a letdown, and there's a bunch of behind the scenes issues. They were going to have Danny Boyle in it, but then Danny Boyle left due to some creative differences, and I guess they kind of throw in just like Cary Fukunaga for like as desperation. Who, by the way, is a really good director. I love what he did with Beast of No Nation. I heard True Detective is a good show. I'm still looking forward to that movie, though, despite, some of the production issues.
Here's what I'll say about No Time to Die and the Daniel Craig Bond movies. Casino Royale, for me, is the first time that I really took James Bond seriously. And I actually really like Quantum of Solace. But Skyfall just knocks them right out of the park, man. It was incredible. Like the action sequences, the cinematography, which should have won the Oscar, by the way.
Oh, Life of Pi. Life of Pi was a beautiful shot film, too.
Yeah, but Roger Deakins, man. Better went for 1917 Cough.
And I haven't seen that movie.
And Javier Bardem makes an awesome villain. Makes her pretty creepy. Yeah.
Javier Bardem is one of the best Bond villains. Like, I'm really thinking hard. Either him or Mads Mikkelsen is my favorite Bond villain.
I'd say Javier Bardem's better, but getting off track. Spectre, for me, it was really disappointing for me because it was just another 007 movie for me.
The thing is, what makes Spectre a disappointing movie is I didn't really feel like, there's any, development for Bond as a character compared to Casino Royale and Spectre. I mean, not Spectre, Skyfall. And, of course, I guess we got to address the elephant in the room. Christoph Waltz, he was good, but he was wasted as a Bond villain. He could have been one of the best Bond villains had we not just wait until like the third act for him to show up.
Yeah, plus they pulled the Star Trek Into Darkness with Blofeld. Like saying, oh, he's totally not Blofeld, but in the end, it actually turns out it is Blofeld. So anyways, No Time to Die. I'm sorry, I'm not looking forward to that movie. Your turn, Brady?
Number 4. This fucking series is still going. James DeMonaco. The Purge 5.
I haven't seen the Purge films, but I'm sure they're...
First one was awful. It had an interesting premise. It would have been great if it was a dark comedy, but they want me to take it seriously. Like, oh, this shit could really happen. When your characters are idiots, they make stupid decisions, and the villain is so incredibly over the top, and he kind of made me laugh, but after all, he's got old. Purge Anarchy, the only good thing about it was Frank Grillo. That was it. But everyone else is like the same shit with the original Purge movie. It was all full of characters doing stupid bullshit. And then we got the Purge election year. I got Frank Grillo, the only character I like in the movie. Everyone else, though, again, making stupid decisions. Oh, and I forget this candy bar girl. She was, oh my God, they want me to take her seriously. I just couldn't. I have not seen the first Purge. I heard that one's pretty bad, too. Purge, I just want the series to just die already. Just die already. And I cannot believe that they're still, and James DeMonaco, of course, Still the director. He didn't direct the first Purge. I thought maybe no, he's back in the director's chair, which is just absolutely great.
I see.
The series has made no sense at all, and I cannot believe it. It was just like making bank, and I cannot believe the Purge election year made more money than Spielberg's The BFG. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, yeah, that movie bombed so hard because of the Purge.
Of all movies.
Yeah. Anyway, speaking of franchises that need to die, number 4 is Minions 2: Rise of Gru.
I'm not going to say anything yet.
I will say this: I do like the Despicable Me movies. Despicable Me 1, 2, 3. They're actually pretty good. The spin-off Minions, however, the main problem with it is that just because they're funny as side characters doesn't make them funny as main characters. Okay. And sure, it does have some funny moments, and Sandra Bullock does kill it as the main villain, but still, Minions was just mediocre. And the fact that they're making a sequel to it is just I don't know. Your turn, Brady?
This is why I didn't want to say anything, because my number 3 is also Minions 2.
Oh, I see.
Here's my history with Illumination. I really don't care for Illumination.
Me either.
I really don't. My biggest gripe with Illumination is they're more interested in trying to be, sellouts rather than like produce like actual quality films. Yes, I know. A lot of animation companies do, like, DreamWorks does it, Disney does it too, but they at least show some creativity, with their movies. With Illumination, it seems like they're so interested in like marking the shit out of, comedic side characters who do nothing but talk gibberish. And the Despicable Me is not the only time to do it. They also did that the Lorax, which I think the Lorax for me is their worst film. I hate the Lorax. I really fucking hated the Lorax. Okay, but Despicable Me is a decent movie. It's nowhere near one of my favorite anime movies like ever, and I don't know why the Kids' Choice Awards picked that movie over
Toy Story 3.
What the fuck is wrong
Dragons?
with them? And Despicable Me 2 is also a fairly decent movie. They're both on the same level of decent. They're not anime films I would like rewatch like over and over again, like a majority of Pixar movies or half of DreamWorks movies. Or even some of Blue Sky's films have more replayability than most of their movies. I will say that I think their best film is Sing. I think Sing is actually pretty underrated.
I haven't seen that yet. I will say this about Illumination. They do have the Despicable Me movies, but what else do they have? An Easter movie Yeah, that Toy Story ripoff. Two mediocre Dr. Seuss movies. Arguably the worst Grinch movie. I mean, give Sony Animation some credit. At least they made great movies like Hotel Transylvania and, of course, Spider-Verse. Illumination, though, their track record is just
and okay, back to Minions 2. I'll say this. I hated Minions so much. Because, like I said, these are characters that are better off as side characters. I did not really care for the Minions in the other two Despicable movies. At least their placement in those movies made sense. They're side characters. Why make them the main focus? Because they blew up everywhere. There's merchandise dedicated to those Minions. They still make Christmas like parade floats out of those things. It's unbelievable. Yeah. So of course they gotta make a movie solely focused on them. What do they do with it? I don't know. Just have them do stuff. Just have them do stuff, and kids will be entertained. And with Minions 2, I am so not looking forward to this. I don't want to be like the same shit. And I just want those guys to just fucking die already and just move on from the minions. You know, they're just a fad. They're a fad, and hopefully this fad will die soon.
And let's just hope the Shrek and Mario reboots fare well.
Oh, why? Okay, you know, I'm all on board for new Mario movie, but why Illumination of all people? Nintendo, come on, why Illumination of all people?
Yeah, you could have picked DreamWorks or Blue Sky or even Disney, even though they bossed them up before in the 90s.
Yeah, no.
Anyways, Minions 2, my number 4, his number 3. My number 3 is a tie because they're both Disney live action films that look pretty generic as hell. And these are Artemis Fowl, and Jungle Cruise.
Artemis Fowl, really?
Yeah, I'm sorry. It just looks like a generic Men in Black wannabe.
Oh, I mean, Kenneth Branagh's directing it. He's a great actor turned director, even though Murray on the Orient Express was pretty disappointing.
Yeah, and Jungle Cruise, it just looks like a crappy version of The African Queen mixed with Jumanji elements. I mean, of all movies, you picked a Humphrey Bogart classic to rip off. Are you kidding me, Disney?
And it's really interesting that they got the director of Nonstop and The Shallows.
Yeah.
And Nonstop was actually a pretty fun Liam Neeson. Was a fun Liam Neeson movie.
By the way, not to mention that Artemis Fowl and Jungle Cruise have been pushed back tenfold from 2019. So that may or may not be a good sign. So yeah, that's why Artemis Fowl and Jungle Cruise are tied for my number 3 least anticipated film.
All right, my number 2. You know, after the release of Pokemon Detective Pikachu, it seems like, you know, we are showing the world that we can have good video game movies.
Angry Birds 2.
And
also,
then
Angry Birds 2 was pretty good also.
I heard that one. So yeah, after Detective Pikachu and Angry Birds 2, it's like we're finally showing the world, hey, you can make a good video game movie. You can. But then this year they're gonna fuck that up again. And it's part of a franchise I never played. And as an RPG fan, I really want to. My number 2 is Monster Hunter.
I'm not going to say anything because I haven't heard of the Monster Hunter video games. So all yours.
Okay. The reason why it's number 2, despite the fact that I never played any of the Monster Hunter games, and I feel like I'm really missing out, especially considering I'm an RPG fanatic, is Capcom. Why? You know, if you want to make a Monster Hunter movie, fine, but why? Why do you think it's a good idea to get Paul W.S. Anderson back?
Not to be confused.
He couldn't do your other franchise correctly. Why do you think he would do a good job with Monster Hunter? Oh, and of course guess who's going to star in the movie?
No guesses.
No guesses?
Nah.
What certain actress do you think of when you think of Paul W.S. Anderson?
Oh, Mila Jovovich.
Exactly. His wifey, of course, is in the movie.
Yeah, why did they pick Paul W.S. Anderson of all directors? Thomas Anderson would have been better to direct it. At least he's greatly acclaimed.
Because the Resident Evil movies made money. They don't care if people hate those movies. As long as they're paying to see them, that's all that matters to them.
At least it ended in 2017 in a pretty
crappy. And with the worst film in the franchise and one of the worst video game movies ever made, because it was a giant middle finger to the whole Resident Evil movie franchise. Paul W.S. Anderson, just go away. Just go away. I hate your shit, man.
Anyways, my number 2 is another tie because both have to do with live action movies based on cartoons. Clifford the Big Red Dog and Tom and Jerry. I mean, of all cartoons, why did you pick Clifford and Tom and Jerry to make into live action movies? The Tom and Jerry movie didn't even do well. So yeah, that's pretty much all I have to say about it.
That's really it? That's all you got to say?
Yeah, I just think it's a pretty terrible idea to make them into live action movies. That's pretty much it. So what's your number 1?
Even though I really hate Paul W.S. Anderson and anything that should be my number 1 least anticipated. Well, unless there's a Michael Bay movie coming out, and that's my number 1. But here's the thing. I grew up on this franchise, this source material. I love this cartoon show so much, and I still do to this day. I am a hardcore fan of this series. I am, of course, talking about Tom and Jerry.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of that cartoon as well. Still holds up well.
Tom and Jerry is a classic Hanna-Barbera cartoon that it's like the Three Stooges. It's like one of the perfect definitions of slapstick comedy. In fact, how they treat slapstick and Tom and Jerry, it's like mathematics. You know, it's like how to do timing correctly, and the environments that they create that fit all the slapstick, and how it's done with, visually absolutely fits to the over the top environment and crazy cartoonish ways in Tom and Jerry. In fact, I'm scared. I love Tom and Jerry just slightly more than Looney Tunes. Just slightly more than Looney Tunes. And I love the shit out of Looney Tunes, and I still love Looney Tunes. In fact, I'm such a hardcore Tom and Jerry fan. Okay, well, I'm just gonna say this. Like, I'm in the minority when I say I'm not a fan of the Chuck Jones cartoons, mostly because I don't know, the animation on Tom's face is a little too skinny. I'm such a hardcore Tom and Jerry fan that I honestly do believe that there is potential for a movie.
Oh, really?
In fact, the original piece of shit from 1992 was on the right track.
Yeah,
at first it was on the right track. Because maybe it could have been like, a silent road trip movie for Tom and Jerry to figure out, how to survive while also thinking if they should help each other or not. This is like a great idea for a movie, and like I said, visual storytelling.
Yeah, it could have been like Shaun the Sheep.
Right, yeah, but then they completely just fuck that over as soon as that fucking mutt shows up with his fucking flea friend. It all went downhill from there. In fact, I remember owning that VHS tape when I was a kid. I was excited for it. I knew nothing about the movie because the movie came out, 3 years before I was born. I saw the VHS tape and I was like, oh, wow, this looks really fun. I love Tom and Jerry. Yay. And And I'm gonna be honest, like when I first heard them like speaking to each other, like I knew Tom and Jerry spoke when I was a kid, though, but it wasn't like talking. It was like done like for comedic purposes. But when I heard them like speaking to each other, I was like having a shocked, like scared face. Like I was like, what? What is this? And then when I heard them singing, like first thing was on, "We do our friends to the end." Yeah, and when I was a kid thinking to myself, is this some sort of a singing movie? Like that, it's one of my least favorite anime movies of all time because it lost the essence of Tom and Jerry. Okay, now I'm getting sidetracked here. But yeah, I fucking hate that movie so much. When I heard they're doing another Tom and Jerry movie, I'm like, oh yes, yes, Warner Brothers, good idea. But then I saw what the plot details are like. I'm like, is this gonna be some sort of a live action remake of the animated movie? And then the final nail in the coffin for me. Why, in the love of fuck, of all people you could get, you chose Tim Story to helm this project? I mean, what world were you living in? Did you think yourself, hey, that guy who did those Fantastic Four movies with Jessica Alba and those two ride-along movies and that one Shaft movie?
I can't
Let's
have a
get him
guilty.
on board. He would be a good choice for Tom and Jerry. No, it's not.
I can't have a
Because
guilty.
everything you're doing with this project is why it's my least anticipated movie of the whole year.
I can't have a guilty pleasure for the Fantastic Four movies. I'm sorry.
God, those fucking movies.
Anyways, my number one of all movies to remake. Why are you remaking this movie? Many, many, many Oscar wins, cultural status, and you're remaking it. My number one is West Side Story.
You see, it's not on my least anticipated, but it's not on my most anticipated either. Even though I'm a huge fan of Steven Spielberg, I'm just like really on the fence. And West Side Story, the original, is one of my favorite musicals of all time. I'm like, I'm somewhere in the middle because, like, at least you're getting a highly talented director for this, and you got a good cast. But why though? On the fence, I'm like, why? Why would you remake West Side Story? What's the point?
Now, we're not saying that remaking a classic film isn't impossible. Some of the greatest remakes are remakes of classic films, like Scarface and True Grit and Ben-Hur. No, not the 2016 movie, the one from '59.
Right. And also John Carpenter's The Thing, which is one of my favorite movies of all time.
I'm just saying that Steven Spielberg's going to have to prove himself in order for me to get on board with his film. So yeah, that's exactly why West Side Story is my number one least anticipated movie of all time.
Of all time? You mean of the year?
Of the year, I'm sorry. Anyways, on to our most anticipated lists.
I only have a top 5 though.
Well, I got up to top 20, so I'm just gonna go over those if you don't mind. So number 20.
Yeah, go ahead.
Number 20. I originally didn't have this in my least in my most anticipated film list, but I figured I might as well put it there just to fill in the spot. Number 20 is Top Gun 2.
I'm really curious about that. The original Top Gun was cheesy fun. It was cheesy fun. I mean, you can't. There are scenes you just can't take seriously. I mean, come on, that volleyball scene. Come on. But I am interested in seeing where this could go. Like, maybe this could be a necessary sequel. I mean, you got a majority of the cast coming back. You got Tom Cruise, and you got Val Kilmer.
Yeah, and let me just say it right now. sequels that we've been waiting decades upon decades for are pretty much a hit and miss. I mean, for every Mad Max Fury Road, there's a Terminator Genesis, and
Yes.
for every Star Wars Episode 7, there's a Good Day to Die
Zoolander.
Hard. Yeah, Zoolander 2 as well. Anyways, my number 19 is an adaptation of a World War classic, The Witches.
Oh yeah. I'm looking forward to that. I haven't seen the original, but I do want to see it because I do love Robert Zemeckis, even though his films these days are like nowhere close to Roger Rabbit, Back to the Future, and Forrest Gump level of Zemeckis touch.
Yeah, I mean, even though he did make The Walk, he also made Welcome to Marwen and Mars Needs Moms. But
Well, he didn't
yeah,
direct it. He didn't direct Marcy's Mom. That doesn't count. He didn't direct that movie.
true that. But this does seem pretty interesting. Robert Zemeckis make adapting The Witches to the big screen. So yeah, that's my number 19. My number 18 is Ghostbusters 3.
The actual okay. Here's the thing though. I actually tolerate the Paul Feig's Ghostbusters. It does have quite a few amounts of funny moments, although the cameos were pretty bad. But I really had a fun time with Paul Feig's Ghostbusters, even though it obviously doesn't hold a candle to the original Ghostbusters by Ivan Reitman. But I am happy that we are getting like an actual Ghostbusters 3.
Yeah, let me just say something. The original Ghostbusters movie is a timeless classic. The sequel is a bit entertaining, but with some weird moments. I still have yet to see the female Ghostbusters movie, though.
It's not bad. It does have quite a few number of fun. I give it a 7 out of 10 in my original review, but I took it down though. In fact, I took down all my reviews, like in general. All my reviews are gone, and for good reason.
So yeah, Ghostbusters 3.
But with this one, I'm looking forward to it because also, and the biggest reason why is yes, you got your son involved. Your son is a very talented man.
Yeah, he did Juno.
Juno, Up in the Air, Young Adult, and Tully. He has, and also one of the best directorial debuts ever. Thank You for Smoking. He had some misses, like The Front Runner, which I heard was pretty mixed, and then there's Men, Women, and Children, which I fucking hated.
So yeah, Ghostbusters 3, number 18. Number 17 is Edgar Wright's latest, Last Night in Soho.
Oh yes, I am so excited for that. Yeah, Edgar Wright is one of our best directors currently working. The Cornetto trilogy, Scott Pilgrim versus the World, one of the best comic movies ever, and Baby Driver. I mean, for God's sakes, Baby Driver is a real fucking adrenaline rush. And to see him take on the horror genre, I am so down for this.
I mean, he did go into the horror genre with Shaun of the Dead, which was pretty awesome.
Well, yeah, but that's a horror comedy, though. But this is supposed to be like a straight-up tension-filled horror.
I see. So yeah, my number 17, Last Night in Soho. Number 16 is a movie that I'm kind of mixed on, but I'm still hoping it's good. Godzilla versus Kong.
I've heard terrible things about, King of the Monsters.
I actually really liked King of the Monsters, and I really like the original Godzilla, and I really dug Kong Skull Island. And
Now, when you say original Godzilla, what do you mean by that?
no, not the 50s version or even the Roland Emmerich movie, which I consider to be a guilty pleasure, by the way. I'm talking about the 2014 one directed by Gareth Evans. Gareth Edwards.
Yeah, you haven't seen the 1950s Godzilla? That's a great Godzilla movie.
I really want to see that.
No, especially because I'm a Godzilla kid. I was a Godzilla kid growing up, and I had a fun time with Godzilla. Destroy all monsters made on GameCube. Although playing it now, it's kind of a bit repetitive. It's just like a mindless button masher.
So yeah, even though I'm kind of skeptical on it because of the recent pushback to November, I'm still hoping Godzilla vs. Kong turns out great. My number
Also, Adam Wingard is directing it, who started out with some, promise with Your Next and The Guest, and he did some of the movies for VHS. Kind of went downhill when he did Blair Witch and the Death Note movie.
Yeah, I heard those were pretty.
And he took down his Twitter account like a cowardly bitch ass crybaby because he didn't like the fact that people hated Death Note.
So yeah, Godzilla vs. Kong, number 16. My number 15 is a movie that I wasn't really on board with it at first in the first trailer, but then the second trailer, much better job on it. Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
I actually have a lot more hope for that than last time now. I hope it's a fun, video game movie. Because that looks fun. It's like real fun, over the top. I am just worried though about James Marsden, being part of the focus. Like, is this gonna be like another Smurfs, where there's this man who's trying to have a better life, and then here comes this creature from another dimension to help his life out. It's kind of worries me.
At least Jim Carrey's gonna yuck it up, whether or not the movie's good.
Yeah,
And
he
he's always
looks
fun.
hilarious as Dr. Robotnik, which, yeah, they're calling him in the movie Dr. Robotnik by his original name. They're not calling him Eggman.
Yeah, Eggman, Robotnik, Tomato.
Paramount is actually listening. That also gives me some sort of hope. Paramount actually listened to the backlash. It's something rare that would ever happen in the film industry these days. But I'm glad they're doing that. So that kind of makes me a bit more excited. And now everyone's excited for it.
Well, too bad they Universal didn't listen to the Cats backlash, and look how that turned out.
Well, no, they decided to have update visual effects after the movie was out.
Yeah, they pull a show dogs on it. But yeah, getting off track, Sonic the Hedgehog is my number 15. My number 14 is SpongeBob 3.
I am so excited for this, especially me as a SpongeBob fan, even though what Nickelodeon is doing is this is beyond disrespectful. It's like they waited for Steven Hillenburg to die. And that is absolutely shameful and disgusting. However, though, I look forward to it because it looks so funny, it looks so creative, and Keanu Reeves as a sage, so much yes to that, so much yes.
However, what I am pretty skeptical about it is that SpongeBob Finding Gary, we did see that in a previous SpongeBob episode, but let's just hope it's not just another rehash of that.
That's what I'm hoping too.
My number 13 is a sequel to an animated movie that I find pretty underrated, Trolls World Tour.
I do like the music in that trailer. That kind of got me a little bit interested, even though I haven't seen the original Trolls yet. I've heard decent things about it, though.
Yeah, it is pretty good. Definitely better than the My Little Pony movie. But that's another story.
And I think, well, that used to be my most disappointing movie the whole decade. Let's just put it that way. Anyway, you were saying?
Yeah, Trolls World Tour is my number 13. My number 12 is the Mulan remake. I'm sorry, Brad. We already went through that. My number 11 is Quiet Place 2.
I really love the first Quiet Place, though. I'm not sure if a sequel is necessary, but at least John Krasinski is back to direct and write, and they got Emily Blunt back. I hope it's I hope it's like a good continuation of the story.
Yeah, it does. Even though it does look like a typical horror film, unlike the previous one, I'm still hopeful that John Krasinski delivers us some pretty fun thrills. My number 10 is Disney's upcoming film, Raya and the Last Dragon.
I know nothing about that except it's I love I love Disney Animation Studios with their original projects like Frozen, Tangled, and Wreck-It Ralph and Moana. So I'm really interested to see what they could do with this sort of project.
Yeah, me too. My number 9 is yet another tie because both have to do with the Sony Marvel films, Morbius and Venom 2.
You put Venom 2 higher than Edgar Wright's newest movie.
Yeah, sorry, pal. Which, by the way, I did actually enjoy the original Venom movie for what it was, and I really hope that the sequel is just as entertaining, especially with Andy Serkis in the director's chair.
Yeah, but it's still Sony, which means they could just they'll most likely they'll constantly breathe over Andy Serkis's neck, and of course they got the same writers who wrote the first Venom, who previously wrote 50 Shades Darker. I mean, did you really expect gold with that kind of choice, Sony? Did you? Did you?
My number 8 is another sequel we've been waiting decades for, Bill and Ted Face the Music.
Um, I'm really looking forward to that because I love Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure. It is a fun 80s movie. I have not seen Bogus Journey. I've heard mixed things about it though, but
It's
I'm really looking forward to this because they got it. Huh?
It's pretty decent, Bogus Journey, but it's still no Excellent Adventure.
Um, right. I'm looking forward to this because they got the director of Galaxy Quest, which yes, that seems like a perfect fit for Bill and Ted. And they got Keanu Reeves and Alex Winter back, and I hope like their story here actually means something as opposed to just being, hey, we're back. So yeah, I'm really excited to see this.
My number 7 is Black Widow. Marvel's
That's
Black Widow.
Probably my most anticipated comic movie of 2019.
That's my second most anticipated comic book movie behind another one we'll get to later.
Yeah, it looks like it has the same vibes as Captain America: The Winter Soldier, where it has this more of a spy thriller feel to it. So that is already exciting enough. And also, it seems like Marvel has a track record of getting actors from other comic movies and putting them into their movies. Hey, Chris Evans, what did you do? Oh, you did the Fantastic Four movies? Well, come here. I got an offer you can't refuse. Hey, Michael B. Jordan, what'd you? Oh, you also tried to do Fantastic Four as well. Well, we got something better for you. Hey, David Harbour, what'd you? Oh, that.
I haven't seen.
Come here, man. We come here. Oh, come here. We'll put you to good use. We'll put you to good use. Here, you get to put on a fat suit, huh? And we'll get a good laugh out of it. I'm sure everyone will laugh. I'm sure you're gonna get a good laugh out of it too, man. Come on, enjoy it. It'll be fun.
Even though it is pretty confusing releasing it this late, especially after spoilers for Endgame, Black Widow's death in that movie.
Wait, you don't know where this movie takes place?
Yeah, I know where it takes place. I'm just saying it's a bit too late to release it, but better late than never, I guess.
I guess so. Maybe like this way, or even though like this takes place like I think this takes place during like after Civil War, doesn't it?
Yeah, it takes place between Civil War and Infinity War.
Hmm. Yeah. I hope Scarlett Johansson can bring like new depth to the role of Black Widow. She was already awesome as Black Widow, and considering this is her standalone movie, I cannot wait.
Anyways, my number six is a director that, like Edgar Wright, is a pretty top-notch director. Wes Anderson's French Dispatch.
I am so excited for that. I love Wes Anderson because he knows how to make a good cast. He loves doing these ensemble films. And I love how he creates, like some sort of like, symmetry in his cinematography. Like, like every actor is like, placed in center of the camera. And it's just, and his movies are just so like, like they're weird, but they're still like, like really deep films. Moonrise Kingdom might be my favorite. I'm tied between that and Grand Budapest Hotel as my favorite Wes Anderson movie.
My favorite is the movie that introduced me to him, Fantastic Mr. Fox.
I'm pretty sure that's every kid's introduction to Wes Anderson.
But
that is a funny movie.
So yeah, French Dispatch is my number six, and now we're up to the top five. Brent?
Okay. So, my number five, one director, two words. Denis Villeneuve.
That's also my number five.
Yes, my number five is Dune. Now, the original Dune with David Lynch was a huge critical and financial flop. However, though, with this, so far, Denis Villeneuve has not made a bad movie, and this movie's got a huge cast, and that's all. And it's also written by Eric Roth, who wrote Forrest Gump and Benjamin Button and A Star Is Born. So I'm really excited for that. I'm so excited because of the filmmaker and the cast and the writer. That's why it's my number five.
And my number five as well. Number four. Where do you go?
Oh, okay. You're right. Okay. My number four is okay. My number four is a Ridley Scott movie. Did you know Ridley Scott has a movie coming out this year?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
Yes, my number four is The Last Duel. Now, even though Ridley Scott is a very talented filmmaker, his movies are pretty hit and miss. The main reason why I'm looking forward to this movie is Matt Fleck.
Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, the guys behind Good Will Hunting.
Yeah, they're both writing this movie. I don't think they ever wrote another movie besides Good Will Hunting, or at least another movie that's as big as Good Will Hunting. So it's nice to see them writing together again. So, and not to mention working with Ridley Scott. Oh, and also Adam Driver is in the movie too. Yes, okay, you can cross Ridley Scott off the list of highly talented directors that Adam Driver gets to work with. Adam Driver is already worked with so many talented filmmakers: Steven Spielberg, Spike Lee, Martin Scorsese, Noah Baumbach. Oh my God, the guy's on a roll with all these filmmakers. Yeah, I don't know what the premise is. All I know is you have a great director and you have two awesome writers.
My number four is yet another tie. Okay, I promise this is the last tie in this video. And this tie has to do with a specific studio. Pixar. Onward and Soul.
Interesting.
Because both looked like amazing original films. I mean, I'm not really one to hate on their recent sequels. Toy Story 3 and 4 are, of course, fantastic. Finding Dory was good. And I actually find Cars 3 to be underrated. But it's nice to see that Pixar is making original movies again.
Also, Incredibles 2 is one of their great films.
Oh yeah, Incredibles 2. Forgot about that one. So yeah, that's why both Onward and Soul are my number 4. Your number 3?
Yeah, my number 3 is Edgar Wright's Last in Soho. You
Yeah,
have Edgar Wright doing a horror film, and it stars Anya Taylor-Joy. That is enough for me to get me so fucking excited, especially coming from me as a horror fan. I'm very excited for this. That's why it's my number 3.
All right, as for my number 3, remember when I said that Black Widow was my second most anticipated comic book movie? Yeah, I kind of lied because my number 3 and number 2 are both comic book movies. My number 3 is Birds of Prey.
It's over, Harley. I have the high ground. You underestimate my pudding.
Yep, Ewan McGregor and Margot Robbie and Harley Quinn was one of the standouts of Suicide Squad, and the trailer looks pretty fantastic. What more can you say?
When I saw this trailer, I'm like, excited, get worried. I'm worried because, what about the other Birds of Prey? Are they going to have as much screen time, or are they going to have as much screen time as half of the Suicide Squad? The reason I'm excited for this, I'm saying to myself, okay, why couldn't you do this before Suicide Squad? You can't start off with Avengers and then go on to make Iron Man and then Captain America.
Yeah, it is true that the DC universe is a bit. The lineup is a bit. I mean, they started off with Man of Steel, which is a pretty good start, and Batman versus Superman. But then they made the Suicide Squad before Justice League. Personally, I would have done first Man of Steel, then Batman vs Superman, then Suicide Squad, then make all the spin-offs with Wonder Woman and Aquaman.
No. Like, you can do Man of Steel first, and then make your standalone Batman movie first, and then do your Batman v Superman, and leave out Wonder Woman in Batman v Superman. They could have done that.
Yeah, I understand what you're saying, Brett, but personally, it would have been a bit too similar to the MCU and how they made solo movies before the Avengers.
They don't have to be the MCU to be great movies.
True that, but it's not great. It's not horrible to be different either.
It's not about like being different. It's like having like a good movie though. You don't have to be the MCU to make a good movie. It's just like you're a good standalone movie and then make a big crossover movies. And I guess after Justice League bombed, they're like, maybe we should start over.
Yeah, they pretty much pressed the restart button with Aquaman and Shazam, which were both fantastic films.
Oh, they were already hitting the restart button when they filmed Wonder Woman.
Yeah, true that. But yeah, long story short, Birds of Prey is my number 3. Anyways, on to number 2.
All right, my number 2. It is a Pixar movie. It's not Onward, although that looks great. It is Soul. Why? Because Pete Docter is my favorite animator at Pixar. Monsters Inc. made me tear up. Up is also a tearjerker. Inside Out is a real emotional ride. I love Pete Docter because he is, great at making dialogue-driven, Pixar films, but still can be like you're entertained, funny, and also really sad. And you got Jamie Foxx in there as the lead. That's also exciting. And
yeah, you got Ray Charles. Yeah, you got Ray Charles himself in it.
And to top it all off, you got Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross doing the score. That's what I never would have expected. So I am so super excited for Soul.
Yeah, it looks like a pretty good mix between Inside Out and Whiplash, doesn't it?
Whiplash? I don't know.
because of the jazz.
Well, yeah, there's
Because,
jazz though, but yeah, okay, you know what? Yeah.
anyways, on to number one. My number one has to do with my favorite director of all time. Four words.
Wait, don't you have number two?
Oh wait. Oh wait. Sorry. I number two is a sequel to a DC movie that was really good, and that's Wonder Woman 1984.
I'm really looking forward to that because it's like the first ever like actually great DC movie. Even though it's not one of my favorite comic movies like on anyone else's list, but it's still like a fun, entertaining movie and it's also with a brilliant not well not brilliant, like a great character study added to the mix.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, Wonder Woman 1984 is my number two. And Brett, I believe we both have the same number one.
Yes, we do.
Four words. In Nolan we trust. Tenet.
Yes, Tenet is our number one. It should be no shock to anyone. Yeah. Even though Interstellar is Nolan's weakest film, there's still a great amount of creativity to it. And I will still look forward to anything Christopher Nolan does. And with this one, I am super excited because, one, it stars John David Washington. I bet his father is jealous that he gets to work with Christopher Nolan. I wish, it would be pretty cool if Denzel gets to work with Christopher Nolan. Anyway, it's got John David Washington as a star. And it's supposed to be a mix of North by Northwest and Inception. The movie looks so incredibly mind bending, like Inception was, and it will probably have like a great amount of thrills. I just hope it doesn't try. Well, when it says like it's a mix of Inception and North by Northwest, I hope it doesn't try to be too similar to Inception. But I am so excited for this movie because Christopher Nolan, he's one of my favorite directors of all time. He is a game changer when it comes to making movies.
He sure is. He's my favorite filmmaker working today, and he's also made my favorite movie of all time, The Dark Knight.
That's my 10th favorite.
Anyways, Tenet is our number one. So with that said, that's all we have to say for episode 2 of the FilmBrony podcast.
Thank you all so much for watching, and we will see you again some other time.
Yep, I hope you have a really great year and a really good decade. So, peace out.